There are many different ways to make gold in the Burning Crusade Classic Anniversary, and those I will be sharing with you in this guide. Those of you with tailoring should level up the profession and start crafting your cloth cooldowns as quickly as possible. Remember to become a specialist so you craft 2 cloth and unlearn your specialization to learn another one for 150 gold. At some point, the price for each individual cloth will be less than 150 gold, and then this trick will no longer be worth it. There's an NPC in Netherstorm where you can buy different modes and other materials required for different professions. Yeah, I know it will be difficult to get these items as there's a lot of competition, but remember, you can change layer. Exactly why I'm going to highlight yet another NPC where you can purchase modes as well. This is found in front of the dungeon Shadow Labyrinth in the zone Terracar Forest. Farming herbs and ores are 2 amazing gold making strategies in the beginning, and I will share my different routes. Starting with mining. The red line indicates my route in each individual zone. Some of the starting areas will be great with normal mount, but if you have got yourself a flying mount, well then zones like Blade Edge, Shadowmoon Valley and Netherstorm will be a lot more efficient as there's too many mountains you can't climb on a ground mount. What about herbalism farming? Sangamarsh is the zone I prefer to go to. There are so many herbs to collect, but of course a lot of competition at the same time. If so, well then my second option is Terracar Forest, and the third being Nagrand. You can of course farm all over Outland, but these are just the zones I prefer the most. Those of you playing Rogue, Druid or Hunter got another option. You can solo farm dungeons for herbs and ores, yeah in fact even different chests in the game. And the dungeons I prefer to head into is Mana Tombs and Steamvault. The amazing thing is that you have got no competition, but be aware it requires you to be level 70 to do this efficiently. Even though the new Burning Crusade ores will be rather expensive, then you can still make a great amount of gold by farming Mithril and Thorium ores in the different classic zones. But if you haven't got any professions, then you should probably just stick to Primal farming. This can be done by any class, but there will of course be competition. For example, this Primal Mana or well Mode of Mana farm in Netherstorm. It is rather easy to do and there's a lot of creatures to slay. And the great thing is that if there's too much competition, well then you can just swap a bit more to the west and close to the edge on this island. You can slay Warp Elementals, Phase Hunters and Nether Race, all of them having a chance to drop the Mode of Mana. Else you might try your luck with another Primal. The Primal Fire will definitely be expensive during the beginning of Burning Crusade. What I like about Blade Edge Mountains is that you can farm this efficiently at around level 65, so you can make yourself a ton of gold as you're leveling up your character. The moment there's too much competition here, well then you got another option. This is in Shadowmoon Valley, and you can start this at around level 67 and stay here all the way up to max level. Be aware it is a questing area, so there will definitely be many people questing at the same time. By the time you reach level 70 and you have got yourself a flying mount, then you got another option, and it is to head to the northern part of Nagrand. Yeah, this area will require you to have a flying mount or a warlock who can summon you to the destination, but it is such a great location and close to Shattered City. Yet another benefit is that here we can farm so many different primals. For example, Primal Air by slaying these Wind Rippers. Primal Air farming shouldn't be underestimated. There are so many different professions who need these in order to craft different epic items, so try to farm Primal Air and not just Primal Fire and Primal Mana. Now you might be curious, is it possible to farm these as you're leveling up? Definitely. In Nagrand you can farm many different wind creatures. The white mark I have made indicates where they should be spawning, but the red marks are indicating where they shouldn't. At least I haven't found anyone there myself. Moving on to Mode of Mana farming, yet another thing you can do, and what I like about this mode is that you can farm it efficiently from level 60 to 70. This is the first location you can go to at around level 60, and you can stay here efficiently all the way up to 65. Be aware some of these locations will require you to have a water breathing elixir, at least if you wish to farm as efficient as possible. And as you get to level 64 and above, you can instead head to different water areas in Nagrand. Another mode we can farm the moment we step through the Dark Portal is Mode of Shadow. There are 2 efficient farms in Hellfire, and you can stay here from around 58 and up to 63. That being said, these locations are way better as a max level character, as you will be able to slay these a lot quicker and therefore make more gold every single hour. I'm just mentioning that it is possible to level up and make a ton of gold at the same time. The last Primal I would like to highlight is Primal Live. Those can be farmed in Sangamarsh, or well, there will be other locations, but Sangamarsh is my most favorite zone. I do know I haven't covered every single Primal farm, but this is because I've covered all the different locations in another video, and I will leave this in the description. By the way, those of you with Herbalism has a chance to get Mote of Life when you're collecting different herbs in Outland, and those of you with mining has a chance to get Mote of Fire and Mote of Earth from fell iron and corium deposits. Yet another thing you can do without any professions is farming fell armaments. Those are a material, or well, a thing you will need to hand in order to get Elder reputation. In a moment I'll share some of the different open world locations I like to farm at, but first I would like to highlight that if you're playing a mage, then you can try the 2-man Shadow Librant. You're just farming the different trash creatures, as there has a decent chance to be dropping these, and at the same time you're farming yourself reputation with the lower city. When it comes to open world farms, well, then there's a couple of solutions. For example, here in Netherstorm, where you can slay these Fellblade Doom Guards, or the different Fell Hunters. All of them having a chance, but not a high chance to be dropping the Fell Armaments. Else, you can swap to another location in Netherstorm at the northern part. Be aware, the floating island at the northwestern part requires you to be having a flying mount. I know the different creatures won't always be dropping fell armaments. I mean, there's a high chance that you'll be getting Mark of Sargeras instead, but those should be sold on the auction house, as it's a tool for you to get reputation with Aldor as well. If you feel like Netherstorm is too crowded, then you could instead be heading to Legion Hold in Shadowmoon Valley. Here there are a ton of different creatures to be slain, and I feel like they honestly got a decent amount of chance to be dropping the armaments, at least the Sargeras. What about those of you who would like to farm these as you're leveling up your character to be making a lot of gold, or maybe farm your own reputation as you're leveling up? Well, my best advice is to head to Terracar Forest. Close to the Ocean Dawn dungeons, you will find creatures dropping cloth and the different materials you'll need for your Elder reputation. The next gold making strategy requires you to have a flying skill and a flying mount, maybe even epic for it to be as efficient as possible, and at the same time being an engineer. The reason is that you can use the mote extractor, an item you can craft by being a level 305 engineer. It requires you to do a quest, but this I've covered in my mote extractor guide. To make this farm as efficient as possible, then you should definitely be getting the add-on Gathermate 2. This allows you to track all the different spawn locations of the gas clouds. If you don't wish to install an add-on, then I have of course covered all the different map locations, and those can be seen right here. Earlier in the video I covered fell armaments, but let's cover the opposite faction, Squires, that requires you to bring Arcane tomes. My favorite spot takes place in Shadowmoon Valley. Be aware, you will need to be level 70 for this to be efficient, and probably a mage, because these creatures does a lot of damage and there are many to be pulled at the same time, exactly why a Frost Mage is just the best for this farm. If you're playing any other class, well then it might be better to swap to Netherstorm. At this location, you can not only get Arcane tomes, but Sunfury Signets, another currency you will need to get reputation with the Squires, so make sure to keep those, as they will be fairly expensive on the auction house as well. On my channel you can find all the different fell armaments and Arcane tome farms, including other things you can do to make a lot of gold in the Burning Crusade. And soon I will be releasing a lot of other videos, so make sure to subscribe to get notified the next time I post a new video. As always, thank you so much for watching and have an amazing day. Peace!